Whispers of the Silent Pines, a cabin's haunting. For nearly a decade, my family and I found solace in a quaint cabin nestled within the heart of Canada's serene wilderness. The isolation, far removed from the clamor of society, became the canvas upon which we painted our peaceful existence. Our cabin, enveloped by the tranquil forest, lacked roads leading to it, creating a cocoon of quietude. Despite the remoteness, a handful of families, residing a few miles apart, formed a loose-knit community, exchanging goods and camaraderie along faint paths that organically manifested over the years. Our lives unfolded harmoniously, sustained by a small farm providing vegetables and a variety of livestock. The tranquility, however, succumbed to an abrupt and unsettling turn. It was a night like any other, the quietude of our living room disrupted only by the flickering flames of the fireplace and the pages turning beneath my fingers. The rhythmic life of our cattle outside transformed into a frantic symphony, an unusual occurrence at such a late hour. Drawn to the window, I parted the curtains, only to witness the cattle stampeding to the far reaches of the field, driven by an unseen force. My gaze shifted to the right, where, in the shadows, a colossal deer stood partially concealed behind a tree. Unmoving, it stared in my direction, a disconcerting stillness enveloping its form. Puzzled by the cattle's bizarre reaction to a seemingly harmless creature, I dismissed it and returned to my reading. Weeks elapsed, each day slipping into the rhythm of our secluded life, until my wife roused me from sleep in the dead of night. Fear gripped her eyes as she beckoned for silence. A disconcerting symphony of sounds surrounded the cabin, akin to someone dragging a stick along the walls. The eerie cacophony completed a full circle before abruptly halting. Instinctively, I checked on my children, retrieved my hunting rifle, and scrutinized every window. The last window revealed the enigmatic deer standing in the shadows, an unsettling stillness enveloping its form. The incongruity of its behavior fueled my paranoia, sparking a discomfort I struggled to shake off. Determined to find answers, I embarked on a journey to a neighbor's cabin the next morning, cautioning my wife to remain vigilant. As I traversed the familiar path, attempting to rationalize the events plaguing my tranquility, an inexplicable unease gripped me. Suddenly, the rustling of leaves behind me shattered the eerie silence, and I turned to meet the gaze of the same deer, its eyes penetrating mine. Chills cascaded down my spine as I observed a peculiar feature, white around its iris and small pupils, reminiscent of human eyes. Terrified, I sprinted to my neighbor's cabin, seeking refuge and understanding. My neighbor's reaction, instead of surprise, resonated with a disconcerting familiarity. He divulged his belief in Navajo skinwalkers, entities that revealed themselves only when seeking something or when disturbed. The calm with which he shared these unsettling beliefs deepened my terror. Though I left his cabin physically unharmed, the shadows of fear clung to me like a malevolent specter. In the ensuing weeks, sleep became elusive, replaced by paralyzing paranoia. Eventually, the disturbances ceased, but the peaceful life I once cherished in the cabin was irrevocably altered. The weight of fear lingered, compelling us to relocate closer to town, ostensibly for the betterment of our children. 15 years have passed since that fateful night, yet the truth remains concealed from my family. Something within me urges silence, a reason that compels me to pen down this tale at last. The horrors witnessed in the Canadian wilderness have etched themselves into my very soul, a revelation that time has failed to erase. Shadows in the Silence, a Skinwalker's Tale. In the foreboding summer of 2015, my sojourn into the desolate landscapes of Arizona led me down a trail less traveled, a secret whispered by the wind through a thicket of gnarled bushes. Seeking sanctuary from the tumult of everyday life, I embarked on solitary treks, immersing myself in the eerie quietude of nature for 8 to 10 hours at a stretch. This particular trail, hidden from the casual observer, remained a secluded enigma, its entrance obscured behind an impenetrable barrier of vegetation. As my footsteps echoed through the desolation, The trees transformed into spectral sentinels, their skeletal limbs casting elongated shadows across the barren trail. Neglected and forgotten, the path bore witness to years of disuse, with fallen trees obstructing my way and desiccated branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, clawing at the fabric of my solitude. The unsettling silence, punctuated only by the macabre crunch of my footsteps, amplified the isolation, creating an ambience that seemed to resonate with unseen malevolence. The air hung thick with an ominous stillness as the trail led me through layers of thick overgrown bushes, their twisted branches forming an unsettling canopy. It was then that I first heard it, a haunting whistle, ethereal and distant, echoing down from the mountain peaks. A few melancholic notes lingered in the air before dissipating into the eerie quiet that enveloped me like a shroud. Initially brushing it off as the presence of another wanderer, I continued my journey. Yet, the whistle persisted, growing louder and closer with every step. A palpable disquiet seeped into my consciousness, a primal unease that coiled like a serpent in the pit of my stomach. Clutching a pocket knife, a feeble talisman against the encroaching unease, I ventured further into the foreboding unknown. Around a quarter mile ahead, a fallen tree barred my path, its thorny branches forcing me to deviate from the already tenuous trail. Turning right, I stumbled upon a desolate valley, a vestige of a once flowing river. At its heart stood a crude den, a skeletal structure fashioned from large sticks that seemed to defy the passage of time. An unsettling realization crept into my consciousness. Someone had claimed this forsaken place as their own, a hermit in the wilderness. A sense of urgency gripped me, an unshakable need to escape the melancholic valley. As I turned to leave, the whistle, hauntingly familiar, reverberated from behind me. My heart seized in terror as I faced the enigmatic den. Instead of a mysterious figure, a solitary goat stood motionless, its eyes ablaze with an otherworldly intensity. Its size dwarfed others I had encountered, instilling a sense of surreal horror. The surreal tableau unfolded, time itself seemingly halting as I grappled with the uncanny sight before me. Just as I summoned the courage to retreat, the goat's mouth unhinged unnaturally, emitting the same haunting melody that had dogged my steps. Panic seized me, and I sprinted down the mountain, a fugitive in my own nightmare. With every desperate descent, the whistle echoed, a ghostly symphony that trailed my tumultuous flight. I stumbled over rocks and fallen trees, the mountain itself conspiring against my escape. The haunting melody persisted until I reached the trail's exit, where the ghostly echoes finally faded into the oppressive silence of the wilderness. Silent about my surreal encounter, I bore the inexplicable terror, haunted by the memory of the enigmatic goat and its ethereal whistle. Only recently did I stumble upon the chilling lore of skinwalkers, and as I delved into their nightmarish tales, the pieces fell into place. My encounter with the goat in that desolate valley, accompanied by its otherworldly whistle, echoed the ghastly presence of these elusive beings, a chilling revelation that forever changed my perception of that fateful hike in the haunted heart of Arizona. Whispers of the Enchanted Woods, a Skinwalker's encounter. Every year, the annual pilgrimage to Wisconsin unfolded like a tradition, a caravan of families setting up camp in the embrace of nature. Within this time-honored ritual, my father and his best friend Billy orchestrated what they whimsically labeled a snipe hunt. A ruse steeped in deception, the snipe hunt was a yearly prank intended to captivate the imaginations of the children, myself included. In their vivid tales, snipes were painted as aggressive, bird-like creatures that emerged only under the cover of night, dwelling within the eerie recesses of trees with an air of malevolence. As children, we wholeheartedly embraced the fantastical notion, yearning for the elusive chance to witness these mysterious beings. This particular year mirrored the others, the second day of our camping adventure unfolding with families settled and the air pregnant with anticipation. My father and Billy, architects of this elaborate charade, stoked our excitement by regaling us with tales of hearing a snipe the previous night just outside the RV. The prospect of encountering a snipe fueled a potent mixture of fear and exhilaration among us. As the sun descended, casting a somber twilight over the woods, my father gathered all the children, fanning the flames of our collective curiosity. Armed with makeshift weapons, sticks wielded for protection and one intrepid soul brandishing a wooden sword, we followed my dad into the woods. Billy, as the vanguard, had supposedly ventured ahead to scout the area, setting the stage for the frightful spectacle that awaited us. 10 minutes into our collective venture, the trees stirred with an ominous rustle, and then, in a sudden eruption of chaos, Billy emerged, drenched in red, proclaiming that a snipe had viciously attacked him. Pandemonium ensued among the children, and I, being just 8 years old and oblivious to the impending prank, sprinted blindly into the depths of the woods. In the throes of disorientation, I sought refuge behind a tree adorned with a thick bush, my heart pounding in my ears. The once familiar woods, a place of mystery and excitement, now took on an ominous and foreboding character. Minutes passed in eerie silence, and eventually, I mustered the courage to peer out from my hiding spot. What met my gaze was a creature, an aberration that defied conventional description. It bore semblance to a canine, yet its legs were grotesquely elongated and emaciated. A mangled head and patchy fur created an unsettling image, and as it walked by, faint moans emanated from its enigmatic form. Repulsed yet oddly captivated, I found myself unable to divert my gaze from the creature's haunting presence. An inexplicable dread washed over me, a sensation that, in my youthful innocence, I struggled to comprehend. As the creature and I shared this bizarre moment, I heard my name being called, breaking the trance. The creature halted, fixing its gaze on me, only to disappear when my father scooped me up, chastising me for straying too far. The journey back to the camp was punctuated by my recounting of the peculiar sighting to my father. His dismissive response only reinforced the fictional nature of snipes, shattering the illusions that had colored my childhood. Years elapsed, but the memory lingered, and it wasn't until I stumbled upon the lore of skinwalkers that an unsettling truth took root in my mind. To this day, I grapple with the unexplained, haunted by the vague silhouette of that creature, a phantom witness to the secrets concealed within the shadows during bike rides and hikes through the woods. The specter of the unknown lingers, casting an indelible mark on the canvas of my childhood memories.